Hi, everybody. I'm Carly. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you all for letting me speak tonight. My sobriety date is May 28th of 2023. I just recently celebrated 8 months, so I'm a little bit nervous, but that's because I didn't expect how many people are here. But I think that's amazing that we can all come together and, you know, connect as alcoholics. And yeah. So I guess I'll share a little bit of, what a general way, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now, and think of a little bit of a topic, why I'm doing that. So yeah, I grew up in a small suburban town in New Jersey. I grew up thinking that like I never really fit in anywhere. I had a pretty normal childhood, minus the fact that a lot of my childhood was spent going to funerals just because I was the youngest of four kids. My dad was the youngest of seven. So that was just, an experience that I had that, you know, is not always the typical, not the norm. And when they did celebrate that, it was a big Irish German celebration. Everyone like drank to remember the person, or, they drank just to, deal with the grief. And that was just, my first real experience of like, seeing that environment. But I didn't really have much of an interest to drink growing up. I thought it was, gross or disgusting. And like, I didn't understand why people drank until later on when I first drank when I was 19. And I think I always kind of had anxiety. And like, when I remember my first drink, like, that was the first time that, I felt like that relief, you know, that solution that I was looking for to like all of the like insecurities I was feeling, or like my anxiety. And I grew up playing sports. I was very on a very rigorous schedule all the time. Like, this is when I'm going to school, this is when I'm going to bed, all of that. And like, when I finally did get to college and drank, like, I didn't have any schedule. Like, I had freedom to do like whatever I want outside of school. Like, my dad was always my bartender. Before then, he cut me off after two drinks. So I had, no idea, that I was like an alcoholic. Like, I didn't really know anyone else in my immediate family that was an alcoholic. And I just knew that when I drank, you know, I didn't have the impulse control to stop. Or, I thought that, everybody got drunk, or I felt like, this is what I needed to finally come out of my shell and get to know all these people and have all these friends. It was that, I have arrived moment. And I guess where I'm at now is like I never went to, a rehab. I never went to like IOP, PHP, none of that. But I went to school for social work. And for some reason, I used to say when I was in school for that, I never want to work with those alcoholics. Like, seems like the worst thing ever, because I think somewhere deep down I knew that I was an alcoholic and there was some shame with that. And now I've had experiences working at an inpatient hospital, even though I never went to inpatient psych for mental health issues. I also now currently have recently started a new job where I'm working as a mental health therapist at a dual diagnosis rehab center. And like, that's the ways that like my higher power has like shown up and put me in those positions to get into service for this. And like, this is not something I originally planned to do, but I'm grateful that I'm like an alcoholic, because like I'm able to relate to these people and really understand. And it's been a great experience. And I guess, as a topic, I guess I really want to talk about, gratitude and, how you get through like the first year of sobriety, even though I'm not at my first year of sobriety just yet. But, it took me probably 3 years to get the 8 months that I have now. And like, so I've been in the rooms a while, and, now I actually like take it seriously. And, I'm learning to like pray a little bit more, and, listen to my sponsor. And it's much better now that I don't have the desire to drink. But like, I guess this is all over the place. But like, when I was drinking, like, I was in situations I didn't want to be in, or, I never really knew who my true friends were. And just like all the different things that, you know, we go through it when we're drinking. And when I first came in, I guess I was really looking for the differences and not the similarities because, I did not, have all the same experiences. Like I like to say that I caught this early before it got really bad. And, I was like, well, maybe I'm not one of those people because I didn't do blah, blah, blah. And like somebody, who had some time explained to me, like, you didn't do those things yet, meaning like you're eligible too. And like that for me was something that I always try to keep in, you know, check for me because, if I did continue on that path, like maybe I would have gotten to those places and maybe I would have done way worse things than I did. And that's something like I have to remember because, my disease, doesn't discriminate. It doesn't, my disease will always show up if I let it show up. And I have to have that, ability to give it up and, pray about it so I don't listen to my disease. And instead, I replace it by listening to my higher power. And I am very grateful that I get the opportunity to speak here because, I never thought that I would ever speak in front of 120 people. Like, that's insane that this many people like show up and like say, like, I have a problem and like I want to get better here. And yeah. So I guess I don't really have too much, like maybe not whole 20 minutes worth, but I think the topic for me tonight is just, somewhere in between like gratitude and like getting through your first year, since I know a lot of people here are new and, have less time than I do. And I think that's amazing that they have the courage to be here tonight because this can be a pretty intimidating place at first, especially when 120 people, because that's not usually the norm when you go in person for meetings. And congratulations to all the anniversaries. And that's all I got.